Okay, guys, here we are. Episode 3 of Roll With It podcast. We're back after about 7 or 8 years. And I'm here at Beyond Jiu Jitsu in Balbriggan with Mr. Wayne Fagan. Hi, Wayne, how's it going?
Not too bad, Noel. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah, all good. Great to have you down here at Beyond Jiu Jitsu Academy.
It's a nice place, Wayne. I've been here, I did a bit of training with you the other day as well. Good training, good lads, good atmosphere. I must say, it's a very nice gym.
Yeah, it took a lot of hard work to get this place up and running.
I'd say it did.
But, yeah, we got there at the end. You know, it's a state-of-the-art facility, and that's what it's all about. Having something, you know, that people can come to and enjoy the training in a good environment and a quality gym, you
know. And Wayne, I guess let's get started here. So you've been in this game for a long time, haven't you?
I started in the early 2000s, around 2008, 2004.
Yeah, in Ireland, is it?
In Ireland, yeah. So I was at a stage in my life where I had a daughter, and I just wanted to keep myself fit as a father. You know, I was around just in my early 20s, and I just wanted to do something. I was going to start a bit of kickboxing in Dorset Street, and yeah, my friend Andy Ryan at the time, we used to box together as kids.
You and Andy were boxing, with you?
Yeah.
Andy Ryan?
Yeah.
Team Rhino?
Yeah.
The two of you were boxing together as kids?
Yeah, we used to box in Holy Trinity Boxing Club.
Where's that, sorry?
Holy Trinity Boxing Club.
Holy Trinity?
Yeah, it's in Donamead.
Donamead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we all grew up together, but Andy was more of he was more into sports. We were dossers. You get me? Andy was kind of the sportsman, doing his judo and a bit of boxing. So then we got into boxing, and we used to go with Andy, my mate Mark. Mark's passed away. He died very young, and then there was a good few of us actually, and we used to just go up and box. But Andy was doing judo at the time as well, and I never done anything special in boxing. Just done it to keep fit.
Yeah.
My mum used to hate me going. Hated because all my family were all the Griffins from the Liberty, so they're all boxing family, Olympians,
oh.
Them, you know, one or two of them. So she just used to say, nah, it's not good for your brain at the time, you know. So she never wanted me to go, so I used to sneak off and do a bit of boxing.
So first you were sneaking off DAS and then you were sneaking off boxing?
Yeah. So that's
how you kind of got introduced to martial arts?
Yeah, into martial arts, and then Andy was pushing himself, you know, doing the judo, pushing for Olympic level, and you know, doing a lot of big competitions in judo, and then we kind of broke away for a few years, and then I wanted to get back into something kickboxing.
Yeah.
Andy was up in Finglas in my sister's husband's gym. They had a kind of a gym, it was called Euphoria Gym, and he used to have mats upstairs, like really old judo mats. And he asked me, I said, I'm going to do some kickboxing. I think I bumped into him. He said, no, come and do jiu-jitsu, it's great. And I didn't really know what it was, and I went up, and
What year are we talking there now?
probably 2000, late 2004.
Would you have been watching, let's say, the UFC at the time?
No, not really into it because, like, you know,
Like, would you have known about Heist Gracie?
Yeah. I knew about all the MMA back then, but I never really was into it, watching it, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was a working man with one daughter at the time,
Yeah.
trying to earn money, so all I wanted to do is kind of get into it and get fit. But
so you got on those mats then, you started doing a bit of jiu-jitsu?
got on those mats and started doing a bit of jiu-jitsu, and I just kind of, you know, at the time I was into a bit of partying at the time, you know.
Right, were you in your 20s?
Yeah. Like into the club scene, Raven was out there, and I was into that, and I kind of said, no, this isn't right for me. So then I said, I want to get into something like martial arts, so I went into martial arts. And I was young, and Andy always used to say to me, yeah, you've good potential. So I used to travel an hour to training every day, and people complain now, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go, it's too far, or, you know.
Yeah.
The quality of training was the best then.
Yeah.
And
sure, there was probably very few places at all that did jiu-jitsu at the time.
There was two.
Two?
Yeah. Andy was SBG Northside.
Oh yeah.
And John was SBG Southside.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was only two places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all there was. And
so you kind of got the bug then in jiu-jitsu?
I got the bug and I started competing then. I competed a lot. You know, I just got mad into competing then.
What was your first competition then?
They used to do these All Valley competitions back in 2006-07. I think
All Valley?
All Valley, yeah. It was in UCD College.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he used to throw out the mats and used to be no geese.
How many people would have been there?
I can't really remember.
Would have been 50 people. 100 people.
100 people, I'd say, yeah. 100 people probably back then.
People were kind of chipping in and helping out refereeing and everything.
Yeah.
A bit more of a community thing back then, probably, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old school guys
Yeah.
kind of set up. A guy called Colin, I forget his second name. He runs a couple of CrossFit.
Yeah.
He runs a CrossFit gym now, but he broke around. I think he ran it, and one or two lads there, SPG, the old school guys.
Yeah.
It was great. It was. I remember fighting and even one in 2007 or 2008. It could have been early there. Gunnar Nelson was even reffing one.
Oh.
It was gas, yeah. And I used to do a lot of reffing as well at it, you know. So yeah, it was back then. That was my first competition. Then I was kind of winning a lot of stuff, and he says I want to try myself a bit abroad, and I start going to the UK and start going into say the London. They used to have this Kent Open.
Kent Open.
Kent
Open.
Yeah, Kent
I was
Open.
thinking it wouldn't be Kent Open in London.
No, the Kent Open in London, and I went with a mate of mine, Chris, and he's a black belt now as well. Yeah, I went with him and we competed. I think we were probably one of the first to go to England to compete.
What were we talking then? 2007, 8, 9. 2008 and 9. Yeah.
And then 2009, I think I done the British Open, got a silver medal.
Oh, wow. So you had the bug then for competing.
Yeah.
First you got the bug for training,
Yeah.
and you got the bug for competing.
Yeah, I think competing keeps your head right. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's all good doing jiu-jitsu, but it's good to test yourself. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's very good to test yourself.
It's like a science experiment. Like you go in with your theory and you test it out.
Yeah.
And does it work or does it work?
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, you come back to
Exactly.
the next one.
Figure out.
Make sure it works.
Yeah,
first,
exactly. And the next time maybe it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it all stemmed from, and then probably 2010, yeah, and then 2009, yeah, I went to Europeans.
Oh,
Got a
wow.
silver medal.
European Championships.
Yeah.
Where was that at the time? Was that
Portugal.
Portugal. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was doing a lot of competitions from 2005 to 2010. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of competitions. You know, and then
You were travelling and everything then.
I was traveling. Yeah, I was doing a lot of traveling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there wasn't many people traveling at that time. I think I was only talking to Colin Bourne. You know.
Yeah, Colin Byrne. He's in Portugal now.
Yeah, he owned Shinobi, and he was saying to me, you know, I was talking about the Kaizen show that
Yeah.
was around there. a few
Oh
weeks
yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we talked about that, and
Yeah.
that was around 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
That was here in Balbriggan as well.
yeah, it was in the Lark Theatre. Yeah, so Colin says to me, he just dropped me a text and says, hey, I might drop down to the Kaizen. I said, yeah, more than welcome. He says, you know what, it's great to see you do so well, and I hope the competition, I hope the invitational pulls off here, and I'll talk to you then. I had a great relationship with Colin. I held a camp there, probably 2011 or 12, I can't really remember. But yeah, Colin says to me, I might drop down to you, and you know, and he says, yeah, 100% come down. He says, it's great to see you do so well. You're one of the first guys to travel and compete in jiu-jitsu, and I always remember you, you know, fair play to you.
Yeah, Colin has a great little place in Lagos.
Oh yeah.
If anyone is interested, you should check it out. It's very good. I've been there myself. It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so Colin texted me about that, and he was just saying to me, Jesus, you know, I remember back in the day you were the only one kind of competing at the time, but there's one or two came after me.
Yeah.
I think the likes of Darren Connell.
Connell,
he
yeah.
came after me. Yeah, but I think he done his first British Open probably 2010. Tom King, I think.
Yeah,
as well.
Tom King, yeah.
Yeah, so I just love travelling away just to test yourself because of different caliber of guys at the time. The UK was a bit
and
more.
people that you're not used to training with.
Yeah,
that's different ideas again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I love competing. I still compete to this day.
Yeah. Sure, you were only over the week after Kaizen. Did you fly off over to Madrid, is it?
Yeah, I flew out to Madrid to compete. This year, I want to compete a lot because back in 2014, I had 2 kids and it was difficult, and I stopped kind of competing.
Oh.
And I was ranked number 2 in gi and 3 in no gi in the world in the master. I think it was master 1 or 2. But I was chasing the number 1 spot. So this year I says to myself, I want to chase the number 1 spot. Like my kids are a bit older, I have a bit more time, and
you can do the travelling and stuff now again.
Do the travelling, so I'm enjoying it now.
You're enjoying it.
Really enjoying
Yeah.
it. I'm not really. I have a couple of injuries, neck injuries, and a few little things, but nothing that the sea makes me.
Yeah, I see you on your Instagram. You're always down dipping into the water.
Yeah, so nothing that the sea can't heal, as I say.
Yeah.
So I swim every morning. I have a routine.
Yeah.
I get up, walk the dog, go for a coffee, go for a swim. I stay awake in the morning classes here because, you know, I get exhausted coaching.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of coaching. I coach the kids here with Nathan, one of my students, and I coach the teens and I coach the adults. So I kind of stay awake in the morning classes. So I use the mornings for myself.
To recharge.
Yeah, to recharge. And keep myself right. I'm not on any testosterone replacement therapy at my age. A lot of people are saying I should be on it, but I feel that I don't need to be on it because my test results are very good. And maybe from all the years of training, that's why my testosterone is so high. I'm recovering okay, but I do put a lot of it down to the cold water out there in the sea.
Yeah. Kind of grounding, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, and you know, I do. So I had a couple of injuries over the years, which is normal.
Yeah. I think anyone who competes or trains that length of time is going to have a few.
From my age, you know, especially, you know, so knee injuries, one or two surgeries.
And you're doing well this year, aren't you? You're in your Masters division.
Masters division.
Ranked.
I'm ranked number 8 now.
In the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
At my division. But I've been collecting a lot, you know, of medals.
Yeah.
And it's costing a lot of money. But hey, what else am I going to do? I don't drink, I don't party.
Yeah.
You know, so I just want to show the students to set an example that if I can do it, they can do it. And every day I come into the gym, there could be 30 people here, 40 people, and they all say I want to be like you. I was coming back from London there, and Paddy Houlihan, I met him on the flight, and Paddy says to me, Jesus Wayne, fair fucking play to you. You know, you're still going, I'm going to start doing that. You know, it's great to hear people like that. He's probably saying, look away and doing that or something. Yeah. You know, I'd love to do it. So I think that's what he was saying, that's his plan. You know, I know he just have a lot on. Well, if you inspire one person, you know, that's the main thing. That's even like, if I'm out there swimming and recovering, and someone wants to do it, some people say it's great for your head. It is great for your head, but I don't use it for that. I use it for recovery. Yeah. You know, but if one person looks at me and says, geez, look at him swimming, I'm going to do that. Or if I go out for a run and try to get people, you know, moving in life, you know, that's what it's about. Yeah. You know? And it's about inspiring the younger generation, I feel, you know. Yeah. And that's why I compete a lot. For the guys in the gym to say.
You're kind of leading by example.
We've really good athletes in this gym, you know. Like, you know, next year maybe I might lay off the pedal. You know, people say, you know, like this is my last year. I could go next year and say, no, I can't. I'm second. I'm going again. You know. But, you know, I feel this is the year. I'm going to really concentrate.
2026 for Wayne Fagan, is it?
Yeah, I'm going to really concentrate on being up there, because the gym runs itself now. We've so many students out there. You know, I can kind of rely on a lot of people to coach you.
You trust them?
Trust them, I have a lot of trust in everyone in this gym. We have a great team behind us, and you know, we're not overly big, and we're not big organisation. We're a small organisation. Yeah. It's like a family. Very, you know, we all say this. It's a family gym. You know. Yeah. It really is, you know, like you can reach out to anyone here. They're all good guys in this gym, you know. And
I think just recently you've got a couple of guys affiliated with you now as well.
Yeah, we've got John Kelly. John's an amazing guy, you know. He won the Irish Open last year, team trophy. Yeah. A handful of lads, Killian Lawler. The two lads together, they came on board with me, and well.
He's running Borough Jiu-Jitsu down in Kildare, in Athy, I think, isn't it?
And John is over in Ballymount with John Kelly. You know, it's just to help the guys. You know.
So they're on their team beyond.
And then I've got Paul Cowser.
Paul Cowser, he's another one from back in the day, isn't he?
He's another one from back in the day. He was with me a long time. Paul is black belt. Probably I think 3 years ago. He's a good guy.
Is he still up in Rush?
Yeah, he's up in guys. Up in Rush helps a lot of guys. You know, that's what it's about, helping guys. Like Gary Morris down in Carrick, you know.
Gary the Dump Truck Morris, yeah.
Yeah, Gary.
Back in the day.
Gary's
That was his fighter name when he was an MMA fighter, wasn't it?
Yeah, both them guys really push MMA, you know.
Yeah.
Good MMA guys. But,
Yeah.
we support them in the jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah, okay.
That's what
Yeah.
it's about, you know. So
Try and help them along to jiu-jitsu as well.
that's what it's about. We
Yeah.
help it, you know.
Yeah. So Wayne, let's go back a step there. Actually, the Kaizen show. Tell us about that.
Well, the Kaizen show came up in around 2019. I came up with that name, and I started an Instagram page, and I was planning on doing a teams type of quintet show. And then it kind of fell apart because the COVID kind of
On the
came in.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah, so the COVID came in then, and I kind of held back on it.
Yeah.
And then
And so Wayne, like, you know, the COVID was obviously a big blow to the jiu-jitsu community at the time, even all over the world. And, you know, a lot of people couldn't train. You know, their mental health suffered a bit, I think. And then it all had to be rebuilt back up again, back whenever it was, 2022 or whatever it was, when things opened again. And how did you find that process building back up again? You know what I mean?
yeah, it was fairly difficult, you know, getting back. I still haven't got back some members that left at the time.
Yeah.
You know, they never came back. But it was difficult to build, and you know, it took at least 2 years to get back to
2 years,
normal. At least 2
So I
years.
suppose you couldn't really, you had to do that first before you brought back the Kaizen thing into it again.
Oh, the Kaizen thing, yeah. So, like, you know, like it took 2 years to build my club, and then the Kaizen thing was on the back burner.
Yeah.
And then early this year, I says, right, it's time to start moving on the invitational.
So you decided to go invitational then, as opposed to the quintet thing. You went a
Yeah,
different way.
yeah, because I brought in Killian Lawler.
Killian was the matchmaker, wasn't he?
Killian was the matchmaker. Killian's one of these guys that he knows everything about every jiu-jitsu guy in Europe, you know,
Yeah.
everything. And he kind of...
He's a great mind for it.
Yeah, he's a great mind for it. And he's European champion twice at brown belt.
Wow.
And he knows what's going on. And he's very, very clued in.
Yeah.
When it comes to matchmaking,
Yeah.
knows everything about, you know, what fighters have done in Ireland and what, you know, and whatnot. But he was the one that I says, right, would he be interested? I talked to him and asked him, and he came on board.
Yeah.
You know, same with yourself. I asked you to come on board to do a bit of media work.
Yeah.
And kind of set up the streaming and set up that, which was great. You know, actually, you know, I think you reached out to me as well. And
Yeah.
triggered with me. Noel I haven't talked to Noel in a few years, and then he says, "Oh, when you're on the Kaizen, you know, if you need any help," which was great coming from yourself, because you know, someone to offer the help that you offered, I was really, really thankful for what you done. You know.
Well, thanks Wayne as well, because that was kind of, I was coming back myself. I just moved back to Dublin, and I kind of met you shortly after that, because I was away from Dublin there for a couple of years myself.
But I know you a long time now. I think you probably have footage from years ago of doing up at my gym, and you were kind of doing a little kind of which way was it, documentary, was it?
Yeah, I was actually got my own thing. Like, I was in Dundalk that time. That was before I moved to Dublin.
Yeah.
And you had a gym in Drogheda.
Yeah. I had a good gym in Drogheda, good lads, but I felt that jiu-jitsu wasn't big enough back then.
Yeah.
Like, we used to do a bit of fitness type classes, CrossFit and stuff like that, to kind of keep the gym floating, keep jiu-jitsu going back in the day, because it wasn't popular.
Yeah, it was hard to kind of make a business out of it, wasn't it? Yeah.
Now you can kind of make a living out of it if it's done right.
Yeah.
If you've got the right coaches, the right team, you know.
Well, you stuck at it, didn't you? Like,
I
you've
stuck
been around
at
a
it.
long time.
Around a long time. I was only talking to Peter Doyle last night.
Yeah.
He was on the Kaizen.
Oh yeah.
He says, you know, fair play to you. Your gym is you're one of the OGs, but you know, I don't look at it like that. You know, I just look at it. It's just a little journey I've been on myself. You know, trying to help people.
And Peter, to be fair, he had a great match.
Oh, he's a dog. He comes up there sometimes. He works so hard.
We were worried he'd be flying off the stage.
Yeah. You know what? That was a great thing. We were worried about that stage with Kaizen. And you know what? I really respect all the lads that fought on the show. You know, respecting the stage. You know, not throwing people off the stage. You could get people that could have got seriously hurt. But do you know what? I want to thank us all for being, you know, clued in on the night. You know, the fighters.
I think I must say, Wayne, like, the show went very well. And there were great matches. All the fighters were the competitors. They all came to represent, you know, and they all did their own thing, you know, on stage.
Yeah, the event went well. The quality of the mats on the stage were top notch.
Yeah.
You know, Mickey Mouse stuff.
Yeah.
No corners cut. The show cost me a lot of money, and I think I just broke even. You know.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't care about it. You know, I care about giving, say, these guys a platform to walk off, which I think Irish athletes need a platform.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to a few people, highly regarded people in jiu-jitsu, and there's nothing for athletes in Ireland. Nothing. No money, no nothing. You know, where fighters on that show were well looked after.
Yeah.
No one ever complained. I haven't heard one complaint about the show.
Yeah.
And it's maybe because I ran shows before back in the day. I done a couple of MMA shows.
Yeah, the MMA shows, I remember.
Yeah. So I kind of know how to run a show. So, you know, and I had the right people around you. I had yourself, Killian, John Kelly. Do you know what? There's too many names to mention. Like all the officials.
Yeah.
You know, it's Zara, Paris Pierce, Aaron Riley's judges, Rosa, Keith Cabin. You know, we'd loads, and we'd so many people.
And people were all, and they're all representing. They all came from different backgrounds and different gyms as well, and we all came together.
Came together, and it was the best thing. And now they're asking when is the next one.
Everyone's asking me even. Like,
yeah, so the next one's being announced the 4th of July.
Yeah.
We've 3 titles on the line.
Yeah.
We've got a super heavy.
Yeah.
4-man tournament.
Yeah. Oh, tournament.
Yeah. So instead of just picking 2 guys,
yeah,
this is the plan. 4 guys.
Yeah.
We're bringing in a big American guy who just in talks with.
Yeah.
You know, we've already matched 2. We're going to match the American guy as well. You know, or else we're just going to have the 4 and draw it out.
Yeah.
That's that one. Then we've a 70 kilo.
Yeah.
Title.
Okay.
You know, we've already got guys in line for that.
Yeah.
And then we've got women's.
Right.
4 women, like four women.
Yeah.
You know, so we haven't decided on the weight left for that belt. Right?
Yeah.
And then obviously they're going to be the main card.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then we were looking for a 20 undercard. You know, like
20 matches.
20 matches undercard. Yeah. And also, we've got the backing to bring these fighters in, so it's good. And pay these fighters. You know,
yeah.
That's what it's about, because I talk about, like, I wouldn't call myself, I'd call myself an athlete as a master, you know.
Yeah.
But the young athletes these days, like, you know, like there's loads of athletes you can name off. But a lot of them do it off their own bat.
Yeah.
You might get sponsorship off a clothing brand, but what did the clothing brand give them? A rash guard, sure.
Yeah.
I never heard of many clothing brands paying. I know 1 or 2 in the UK do.
Yeah.
But they don't pay them to do all this.
Because it's a lot of cost, isn't it, to compete? You know, and even the food and the training. And you're getting
nutrition and stuff like
that. Supplements, you gotta book flights, you gotta book accommodation, hotels, you know, take time off work and everything.
I was only talking to one of our athletes here the other night, Jermaine.
Jermaine,
he's probably one of the top athletes in Ireland, you know, like big guy, won a lot of stuff, you know, very scary guy, you know. So I was asking him, he went to Vegas, you know, he got really sick over there, but I was talking to him. And I was saying, how much did it cost you to that?
Yeah.
$5,000. And he looked at me and laughed and says, no more. Now, I'm saying to myself, like, Jermaine's a good job.
Yeah.
He's in a big firm in Dublin.
Yeah.
But he can kind of...
you take a bit of time off work?
Yeah, time off work, he can, you know, fund that. But it's very hard for him to fund, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying to myself, what are the athletes doing that don't have a job?
Yeah.
Who's supporting these now?
Because a lot of lads are training just full time and like they're barely paying the rent and everything, you know.
Here's one for you. I was talking to another athlete in Madrid.
Yeah.
So I was in Madrid and I was talking to him, and he's saying to me, he's on, like, I says, what's the story? He went to the next competition, it's very hard, you know, we kind of, you know, try do as many as I can, but the money is the problem. And I say, right, and then I'm just listening to these young athletes, and he says to me, he says, when are you going home? He says, tonight. And he says, flying direct to Dublin. No, I haven't got the money to do the direct flight. And I said, so what are you doing? He says, I'm flying to Stansted. I'm going to sleep there for the night, and then I'm flying back to Dublin in the morning.
It was cheaper, was it?
It was cheaper. And I'm saying to myself, this guy's just had a fight. And then, you know, the last thing you want to be doing is hanging around airports. And not a lot of them do it.
Yeah.
But sleeping on a bench after, you know, they're able to do it probably because they're young, but it takes its toll on them. You know,
Yeah.
It was Charlie Frigo Gordy Grappling.
Very good guy.
Yeah, very good guy. And young athlete.
Yeah.
Needs support.
Yeah.
Likes these guys need support. And he says, that's it, Wayne, you know. And I says, and it just got me thinking, well, what can we do for these athletes? Because we talk about these athletes not having money. You know, another athlete I was talking to during the week, I was in a well-known gym in Dublin, training myself.
Yeah.
And I says to the person, you're doing the pans next week? And he says, no. And I says, why? And he says, I'm going to hold my money for the worlds that haven't got the money to go. And I'm saying to myself, this person has the ability to win the pans.
Yeah.
Already done well in it before. I says, where's the support? Where's the support for these young athletes, right? So I'm saying to myself, what can we do for them? So even if you give them a shot and an invitation and you get a couple of €100 to fight, go towards something. But I'm saying to myself, can we do anything else? Because we've got these big organisations coming into Ireland and in Ireland as well.
Yeah.
You work it out. If they get 1,000 athletes at 80 quid a head, what's that now?
It's 80 grand.
80 grand. Right.
Yeah, they've costs and stuff
Yeah,
as well.
costs and stuff and all.
Yeah.
I'm saying to myself, right, if the cost are 20 grand,
yeah.
I know because I run,
yeah.
You know, 20 grand, maybe a bit more, whatever. Right, that leaves you 60.
Yeah.
Right. If we put 10,000 out that way for an athlete,
yeah.
and the likes of that person says, I can't go, and I'd say, right, we've 2,000 for you. And then the likes of Jermaine's, you know, like going to the board, it's another guy, we've 2,000. Another guy, 2,000.
Yeah.
And we can say, this is where this is going.
Yeah.
They can thank us on whatever. That's what I say to myself. Why can't these organisations, a big organisation comes into Ireland 3 times a year, probably takes out 250 grand out of this country.
Out of Ireland?
Yeah, out of Ireland.
Yeah.
What are they giving back now?
Yeah. You're not giving it back, right?
Nothing back.
Yeah.
Nothing goes to them. And it broke me heart to sit there and look at this person that can't do the pants.
Yeah.
Because I know as a guy that does competitions.
Yeah.
Like I'm funding myself. I don't ask anyone.
Yeah.
Anything, you know. And I
But
know.
even that person, like, you know, they're probably able to medal, they can't. And even if they got the medal, then they'd get more prize sponsorships then. But they can't even get the medal because they can't afford to go over.
And I'm just sitting there and thinking to myself. So I had this in the pipeline and says, I have to hold a competition. So we've got, obviously, Kaizen. But he says, I have 300 square metres of mats.
Yeah.
Which is a massive area. And I'm saying to myself, what am I going to do? I have to hold a competition. So I banged my heads together, a few people.
Yeah. So you're talking about running a competition, is it?
Yeah, so we're talking about running a competition. So we've got Kaizen, obviously, which is great. It's an invitation. The athletes will get well paid on it. Okay, but I says to myself, and it broke my heart to look at this person saying that he can't go to these Pan Ams and yet know they'd medal. And then it brings them up the ladder more, but they hold them back because they want to do the Worlds.
Yeah.
But the Pans it's a big competition to win. So I says to myself, there has to be something. Now I'd always got this in the pipeline. So I says to myself, let's now this was already in the pipeline before I even do it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how can we help them in a better way? So there's no grants in Ireland, the government giving nothing to Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
The big organisations are not giving back.
Yeah.
So I says, right, let's do something. Let me do something now that we have the kind of infrastructure and we've everything ready to go. Matt and we've got the right people around us. Kaizen done well, we know that we can run a show good. So let's do this Elite Grappling Ireland. That's what it's called, Elite Grappling Ireland. It's a competition that's going to be coming up soon. And what I'm saying to people, if we get it's going to be kind of an IBJJF kind of tournament.
Okay.
Referees, the whole lot, everything done right. If I run it like Kaizen, it'll be run. This will be run better, you know.
Yeah.
That's the plan, and it'd be not up there in the hundreds. You know, maybe about €70 entry fee. If we get a couple of hundred entries, what we're planning on doing. I was only talking to so Killian's involved with it as well.
Yeah.
Bringing yourself in on the media end of things and promoting it. And so what we plan on doing is, if we have a 16-man white belt tournament, 16 men in every division, we can help them get away to competitions, right? Maybe in the brown and purple you mightn't have that if you got the 8 in it, you know, or if we didn't get the 8 in absolutes, we can kind of pay them to go away. Also, that's one thing we're thinking of, which it will happen. Also, another thing that will happen is if we make 50k off a tournament, right?
Yeah.
We obviously the organisation has to make money, you know.
Yeah, to keep going.
Yeah, keep going. So if I say to myself, we make 50k, we put 10k boy.
Yeah.
If I put that 10k boy, and the three of people are involved in holding that 10k or whatever it's held, and then the likes of that person that I was talking to during the week, or the likes of my guy Jermaine, or the likes of any other guy that wants to do competition can reach out to anyone, any of us three, or whoever is holding, and say, hey, I'm going to such and such, and we know they're a top competitor, and we know that we can help them. We can give them cash to go to these places, because you can. They guys like these are being wasted. The year's gone by now for the next plan. You know. So it's very.
And they're gonna get injured then next year.
They could, and like that's the plan. That's because I believe that you should be giving back. No one gives back. I don't know. I don't see it. No one ever tells me that they're getting that off organisation unless it's done under the carpet or whatever. But there's nothing really saying, hey, thanks to such and such an organisation for giving me $2,000. This is why I'm here. I never see that. Do you?
No, I haven't really heard it, to be honest.
So I think there's a lot of taking but not giving.
Yeah, especially these internationals that come over and take the money and take it out of the country.
100%. I'm just talking about the big organisations, and like we know who we're talking about. They come into Ireland, you know, they come into Ireland and they do a no-gi competition. There's no barriers. There's no barriers. People are walking all over the place in shoes, and like the referee is be told how to ref on the morning of the. You could go
be
in
making
there.
mistakes.
You
could be
could
fighting.
you could go in there and get injured if they don't know what a reap is, what this is. I've seen it before.
And you have everyone arguing.
But they're still taking $100,000 out of this country every year and not putting back in.
Taking it away out of Ireland.
You know, so we need something for our athletes. You know, no one's giving back. You know what I mean? And if we give them back, like, you know, and we can see one person do well and, you know, and support them, that's all I'd like to see, you know. I'd like to say, oh yeah, this person done well because we helped Elite Grappling Ireland, supported them and, you know, gave them a little road to walk, you know, to help them, whether it's paying for their flights, the hotels, that if we get them a couple of grand or whatever it is, and it gets them there anyway.
Well, that sounds very promising.
That's the plan. That's the plan, and we're going to be announcing in Elite Grappling Ireland this weekend.
Okay.
You know, it's going to go up in Smoothcomb. The dates be out. You know, that's the plan. And everything's going to be there. Proper referees, probably about 4 matted areas, 5 matted areas. At least to start off it. All IBGF rules and, you know, like everything be run like their organisation. You know, so that's the plan, and we're going to give back to every division. If we have 16 in every division, they will get a trip of anyone you want to go to.
The people that medal, is it?
The winners. And if we don't have that, then we'll do the absolutes. You know, the only person that I see is giving back now at the minute is Kieran Davin. He does ADCC. Kieran does ADCC, and the winners get €1,000, which is great. Because I'm even talking to Jermaine here last night. He went to your next competition and trying to push him towards Irish Opens and stuff like that, which is a great organisation. The new one that the boys run, it's a great organisation. You know, and I'm trying to push them towards that because I think we've 76 in it so far from beyond. You know, we're pushing for around probably 200 athletes in that show. You know, that's the plan. So yeah, we want to support that. You know what I mean? That's the plan. But and he's saying, one of them says to me, oh no, the next one I'm going to do is the ADCC. Why does he want to do the ADCC?
Suppose he wants to get a few pounds.
100%. You know. 100%. Money. You know, because.
But like, you know, like the medals are great and all, and the rash guards and t-shirts and all. But like, sure, you have to get your flights and your accommodation and your hotels and your food.
Look at me going to Pans this week. Look at me going to Pans this week. No, next Tuesday. Tuesday. And it's like, I'm probably up to $5,000 already.
Fuck. I should swear. I'm gonna edit out.
It's okay. Look at me going to the Pans next week. I'm already up to 5,000.
Where's that over in Florida?
That's in Florida. Florida. I just want to get myself out there. You know, and enjoy training. I'm not suffering from any injuries, and I'm really enjoying my training at the minute. Like here last night, Friday night, I think we done altogether 12 6-minute rounds, or more, could be more. I done about 8 or 9 of them.
You're still at it?
I'm still at it. I'm still at it, and I love it.
And have you, so you're going to Pans next week,
Mm-hmm.
and have you a few more after that, or what are you thinking?
Pans, I come back from Pans and then I go out to Spain with my family.
Yeah.
I go out on the Monday to Spain down in Malaga, and I stay there till the Thursday or the Friday, and they're there till the following week. And
Right.
then I fly from Malaga to Milan,
Yeah.
and then doing the IBGF Milan.
Okay.
So then I'm back then the Monday, and then after that I'm heading. What's after Milan? I think it's the European Masters in Barcelona.
Yeah, that's coming up. Yeah.
And then after that, I'm going to Paris.
Paris.
And after that, I'm going to Geneva. I think one of the other.
Geneva's coming up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to yourself there earlier about I'm thinking of doing Japan. I was talking to yourself about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Busy year. I mean, back out to America again.
Yeah.
To the world. So I'm just busy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Like, you know, that's what I
Yeah.
love as a coach. Most coaches don't really put themselves out there anymore. You know, I think it's good to put yourself out there as a coach to show your team that you're still able to fly the flag for them.
Yeah.
Am I right? Man?
That's very good. Yeah. Well, fair play to you, Wayne. It sounds like you're a
Yeah.
busy man in a way.
Busy man. Sometimes I'd be drained. You know,
Yeah.
it's very tiring. You know.
It is.
Yeah, because between teaching classes, trying to keep yourself active, trying to, like, I go to other clubs and train as well.
Yeah, do a bit of training.
I don't think that my club is the best club.
Yeah.
It's a good club,
Yeah.
but obviously I want to train with different bodies to
Yeah.
see where I am.
And again, it's the test and experiment. isn't it?
Testing, walking in. There's a lot of guys that won't go places. They
Yeah.
don't want to, they don't want to, go to other teams.
Yeah.
I think jiu-jitsu is all about, helping each other.
Yeah.
100%. All the training I've done in other clubs the last few months is going to help me in the pants this week. Like when
Okay.
I go over there now, I'd go down to Ricardo Liberio, and I train with him.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like a guy runs a college over there, runs the UCF College, University College Florida,
Right.
and he's about, I think, 500 students, and he says, "Hey, Wayne, do you want to come in and teach free?" I said, "Yeah, free,
Yeah.
free. I go and teach all them students free.
Very good. Yeah.
Give back."
Well, it sounds like you've a lot going on.
Mm.
I think we covered a lot of ground there, and I hope you keep at it. I think just keep going. Yeah.
That's the main thing, and keep growing the club and just keep positive. That's the main thing.
Positive, yeah.
Keep positive, and I just my heart goes out to some of the athletes these days,
Yeah.
because I do say to some guys, there's guys to come into this gym, young kids about 16, 17, that say, "Hey, I want to leave school and pursue a career in jiu-jitsu." Yeah, maybe 5-6 years ago, like when the scene, but now you look at the top athletes, they've all education behind them, they've all degrees. Look at me back in 2014. I gave up my gym in Drogheda because I thought I couldn't make money. It was just too much for me traveling, and I went back to college and done business. But because I always wanted something to fall back on, but at the end of the day, like these young kids, like a good coach would say, "Yeah, I do think that you can do well at jiu-jitsu, but what happens when you're 30 if you want to stop and you have bad injuries?
Yeah.
You know,
Kids.
your kids, or what are you going to do?
Yeah. Exactly.
What are you going to do? Because
Good point.
jiu-jitsu in 10 years is going to be like taekwondo.
Yeah.
It's not everywhere. You're
Yeah.
getting there like
Yeah.
a minute. So at the end of the day, like you have to have an education.
Yeah.
You have to learn. Like,
Well,
I remember you years ago. You were putting yourself out there, going around, training hard.
Yeah.
You were everywhere. And what have you got? You're an engineer now.
Yeah.
So you've something to fall
Yeah.
back
That's
on.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine
true.
you wanted a career in jiu-jitsu, and you probably did back then.
Yeah.
I just want to be jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But you were smart. You went back and done a degree.
Well, even like you're saying, when COVID happened, I fell back in my work. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So, yeah.
And that's the main thing. Once you can fall back on something,
Yeah.
never think that jiu-jitsu will make you millions and this and that. There's a certain few guys that can really do well in jiu-jitsu, but
I mean,
they're all educated as well.
That's it. I think the best guys at doing that stuff, or have some kind of background in
Oh,
running businesses or things like that.
100%.
Yeah.
They're all really smart guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Wayne, I think that was a great chat. And I think we'll do it again sometime. We'll see how you're getting on later on.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully, at the end of the year, hopefully I'm up there, and hopefully we've supported so many other athletes. Then, if this all comes off.
Yeah. Well, fair play, Joe. You're still going at it for years and years.
Thanks very much, man. Pleasure to be on this. Roll with it. Podcast. It's great.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
You're my first guest back after about 7 or 8 years. So hopefully it won't be another 7 or 8 years for the next one.
Yeah.
And we'll get some more good guys. If there's anybody out there who wants to get in touch with me, sure you know where I am. Drop me an old DM or whatever, and we'll head down to somewhere else for the next episode. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.